Hi, talking about pre-approval processing. I am here with Kathleen Bang from Movement Mortgage, and I am Abby Russell with Russell Real Estate Solutions, and just wanted to give everybody a little bit of just the process of exactly what you need to do to get pre-approved and what's going on in the market right now.
All right. So basically, to get a pre-approval, we ask if you are a W-2 income is just to bring in a 30-day most recent pay stubs, your W-2s from 2023, 2022, and then we would need your asset statements of where the funds for closing and down payment would be coming from. Okay. So that's pretty simple. If you're self-employed, we would ask for federal tax returns for 2023 and 2022. If you're a Schedule C, if you are an LLC or a sole proprietor or have any K-1 income, we would then ask for your business returns as well. Okay. So the pre-approval process is actually very simple. We just need to verify your income and where the money for closing is coming from. Okay. So the day of either you come in and visit me or you apply online, you can bring those items or you can just upload them right into the client portal.
So it doesn't have to be in person. It can be just simply done online anymore.
Oh, yep. Okay. You can go right to my website and apply right online. And that usually will maybe take you 20 minutes at most. And then I get a text when it's completed. And then I just go out and work on that. So usually within the day, you can have a pre-approval done.
Wonderful.
So as long as you upload all your stuff. I do need to verify your income.
Okay. That goes along with credit checks and whatnot that
so we do a hard inquiry from all three bureaus. So there is a credit check done that day. The pre-approvals are good for 90 days. So you have 90 days to find it. If you don't find anything in 90 days, I don't constantly keep repulling your credit unless you tell me something has changed on your credit report. Okay. If you went out and bought a new car or you used some of your credit cards to buy whatever, then I would ask you that I would have to repull that. Otherwise, I just take your word and then I will update the pre-approval based on that nothing's changed.
Okay. And then you said where the money's coming from. Are there certain options for people if they don't have all the savings?
There are. So depending on what program you're looking at, there are grants out now for first-time home buyers. Okay. There's, a lot of people take advantage of INHS, which is up in Tompkins County, that it gives you up to $20,000. It's a second lien. Some of the loans are forgivable, so you don't have to pay any of it back. Some portions of that loan you do have to pay that back. So that is wrapped into your mortgage payment. Okay. And then Sunny Mae just rolled out, well, it's been out about 6 months now, I think. They have a program for first-time home buyers that is income-based, up to $30,000. They can get towards down payment and closing costs, and they only have to come up with 1% of their own money. Okay. If you're not a first-time home buyer, you can, if you have the luxury, you can take a loan from your 401k. Okay. You can get gifts from family members. You can ask for seller's concessions. So depending on the products, concessions can be anywhere from 2% if you're buying an investment property. Okay. If you're buying a primary residence or second home, it can be up to 3%, up to 9%, depending on your down payment. Okay. So there's a lot of options, and that's basically my job, is to look at your whole picture and determine what is the best fit. Concessions come in handy if you say you have $15,000 and the closing costs are $15,000. If you ask for 3%, that's going to keep you some reserves back for any emergencies that may come up when buying a new home. So that's usually when concessions come into play. That's why, as lenders, we put that on our pre-approval letter to let you know that you need to negotiate that.
Okay. And first-time home buyers, is that just purely like same definition, first-time home buyers, or is there a way that people haven't owned a home for quite some time?
Yep. So if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you actually revert back to a first-time home buyer.
That's great to know.
So if you sell your house and say you've been renting for the last 3 years or moved back home with mom and dad to save money, whatever the case may be, you do revert back to a first-time home buyer. So it's not one and done. You definitely can qualify again for it. Okay. So
wonderful. You brought an example of closing costs for an average home in our area that's around $300,000.
Yep. So on a $300,000 price range. So when buying a house and you hear, the ad saying, "Oh, well, we're waiving all closing expenses," that's great. However, there's 4 parts when you buy a house. You have your down payment, you have your closing costs, you have prepaids, which are to start up your escrow for taxes, homeowners insurance, and private mortgage insurance if you have that, and then prorations, which are taxes due back to the sellers for anything that they've already paid on. So let's just say hypothetically a client closes June 15th. They're going to owe taxes from June 16th through December 31st for county, and then June 16th through 9/30 for school taxes. If there's village and city in there, they'll also owe that as well. I just don't always know those dates because every county is different. Right. But that is all part of when I say closing costs. This fee is all lumped in. So you're going to buy a $300,000 house, you're putting 5% down. So all the closing fees, which include lender fees, you have attorney fees, you have county fees, you have taxes, and then the prorations to start up the escrow. So all together on this loan, you would need roughly $28,921, and that's with no concessions. Okay. And then your monthly payment with everything would be $2,581.
Okay.
So that's a very realistic quote on $300,000 in Chemung County.
And the rate right now is about what?
So based on your credit score, this one was priced out at 6.875.
Okay.
So in the last 2 weeks, they have creeped up again. 2 weeks prior, I was actually getting people in the 800 credit scores down around almost 6%.
Wow.
So they've jumped up quite a bit. So we're hoping pricing improves again, starting in the busy season, May, June.
Yep.
We see that price improvement comes back, but that's where we're at, teetering right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, hopefully the rates come down, but that's not always the case. Are there any incentives for people to buy now and refinance later?
There is. So Movement is offering a product through this year. If you buy through us and rates come down in 2025, we will let you refinance with us. Well, we won't let you. We would like you to refinance with us.
Encourage.
And yes, and we waive all the lender fees for you. So that is something to bring you back to use us again. The nice thing is if when you refinance, if you use the same institution that you're currently at, you can do what's called a CEMA. So it's a consolidated mortgage, so you don't have to pay that sales tax again.
Okay.
And then there are some discount fees if you use your same attorney and things like that you use for your sale.
Yep.
So there's definitely some benefits to stay with the same lender that you bought your house with.
Perfect. All right, that's really great to know with the rates being so crazy right now.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So with the market being so competitive right now, rates going all over the place, what are your suggestions for buyers?
So my suggestions for buyers is really looking at, if you find your house and it's something that you really want, I would get it now, because if you wait till next year, A, it's going to be gone, and B, the prices are just going to be higher. If you read the national average, the prices of homes are increasing about 4%, I believe. So our market's probably pretty comparable to that. And then if it becomes more of a buyer's market like we saw in 2020, the prices are going to become even more unaffordable. So waiting for the rates to go down doesn't make sense to me, because like we just talked about, you can always refinance. I just sat down with a couple today and we talked about their rate was at 7. And if the rates do go down, say to 4 again, that would save them $200 a month on a $145,000 house.
Okay.
So buying it now, they can still afford the payment, and they get in their dream home, they can buy what they want, and then they can always refinance to a lower rate if something does happen in the market.
But if they waited, the house could be $20,000 more
So
next
the
year.
145 could go up to say 165 or 170. So that's going to be unattainable for them. Then they can no longer afford that $1,400 payment. It's then going to be whatever.
They'll actually save the money now, waiting for inflation to
So I mean,
catch up with them later.
And they're pretty aggressive. So we talked about they can pay extra on the principal anytime they want. So when they do refinance, they're paying off less, so their payment's going to be even lower because their principal balance is paid down.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense if you find the right house and you can afford the payment now. Trying to time the market, trying to time the rate, you'll never win. You'll always lose in that game, always. So you need to buy when you're ready. You need to buy in the price point that you're ready. Payment driven, everybody is right now. You don't want to be house poor. So I always tell people before they come visit me to try to really do their budget. Banks use your gross pay. We don't use your take home.
Okay.
I don't know your hobbies. Like, do you hunt? Do you, motocross is super expensive. I mean, there's a lot of things people do that we don't budget in.
Right.
So if you have a price point of what you want your payment to be, then I can usually work around that as far as qualifying you, because we're going to typically qualify you for more than you even want.
Okay.
And that's just the way I look at it, to make sure they really do their homework.
Right. They need to know where they're comfortable.
Exactly, what their price point is, so
Okay.
that's usually how I do my pre-approvals.
All right. Well, being April and everything with the NAR settlement coming out, being a little bit, news is taking it to some certain extremes and whatnot. What are some of the things that you're hearing from people, concerns, and what do you take away from it so far?
There's a lot of concerns. I'm not going to bore everybody with those because you can read those on the internet. But I think the market is consistent with any market when it's election year. I think, there's always going to be stagnant because people are afraid to pull the trigger because it's an election year. But I think with the NAR settlement, I think that if we do business as usual and keep the right mindset and work as a team, you need buyer's agents. There's no way around it. We've all done for sale by owners. They're not fun. They're a lot of work. And I think if we all work as a team and we really negotiate and really work the numbers together, I think it's affordable for everybody, where the seller still wins and the buyer still wins. That's my take on it. I think, I'm really good at manipulating numbers. So if you need help before you even list the home, I'm always available to help you crunch numbers so everybody can make what they need to make. I think that's just the approach we have to go about it. Until the settlement is 100%, we're still a lot of gray areas and we're still a lot of unknowns. I think hysteria is unnecessary at this point. I think if we just all stay level-headed and stay positive and work as a team, it's harder to take down a team than it is to take down single individuals. So
Right.
I think if we all group together and really make it possible, we can get through anything.
Yeah, and I think it's important to realize this is people's housing. It's, maybe a seller doesn't have to move and buy another home right away, but a buyer, this is going to be a long-term
Yeah.
decision to make
Yeah.
and big purchase for them to make. So
Yeah.
these are people's housing, people's, big purchases. We need to make sure that, everyone takes that into consideration.
That everybody's represented fairly.
Real estate
correctly.
is about the people. It's about working together and making sure that everyone wins in the end.
It is. I mean, it's 100% teamwork. I mean, when you got your great team around you, that transaction goes super smooth. I mean, you got everybody working together. No one's fighting against each other. It's the best when that happens. So I think we just need to have that outlook. And I mean, honestly, I feel like we can do anything. You know what I mean? Like, this is a little bit of a setback, but I don't think it needs to be where it's at, where
Yeah.
they think it's just like buyer's agents are going to go away. I don't.
Our market's constantly changing. This is
Yeah.
just a big, I think, publicity.
Yeah, yeah.
because of some bad things happening.
Yeah. I mean, I just made a post on another agent that I think, bad news travels faster than good news. And I
Exactly.
think a lot of people are spreading myths, and I think we just need to stop and focus on the good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of wonderful agents, a lot of wonderful LOs in this area. And if we all just stay as a team, it will be just fine.
Exactly.
We can just do what we always have done. We've never been on the national grid to break barriers or things like that. And we always kind of we don't have the big bubbles like the other markets do, where the highs and the lows.
Right.
And I think we're very fortunate, and we just have to continue on that path.
Right. No, I appreciate that. Wonderful information, wonderful news. We'll share everybody with the,
Okay.
the rates and
Yeah.
whatnot. Keep everybody up to date as usual. But thank you so much for
Yeah,
your
thank
time.
you for having
coming
me.
in. And
Absolutely.
we'll make sure that everyone knows how to get a hold of you.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen.
All right.